If you win tonight, you get the tiebreak over the Astros, and to Corey's bigger point,
a happy boach tomorrow.
That is true. And one more step towards potentially getting a sweep that feels like you desperately need, because while you beat up on the White Sox, everybody in baseball has been able to do that. So I wanted to talk just a little bit more about yesterday's game, and I know we're all excited that they won, but is it okay to also be like, hey, I'm really glad they won, but man, oh man, did the offense look rough for 7 innings. Actually, I would probably argue it looked rough for 9 innings.
Yeah, it is what it is. I just don't think you can rely on the offense. Look, it's 100-plus games.
Yeah, you've seen enough.
Last year was last year.
Yep.
Just like 2022, we couldn't say, well, 112 games in. These 2023 Rangers are just like the 22 Rangers. No, they're nothing like the 22 Rangers. They're way better, and it's not even close. And right now, the 23 Rangers are way better than the 24 Rangers, and it's not even close, especially when you're talking about offense. Because you could argue, in a way, that the pitching is better in 2024 than 23.
I would argue that.
Yeah, but the hitting is...
I realize maybe like 10 of the last 11 days notwithstanding,
right.
But before that, I would argue that.
But the hitting, it's day and night, because day's better than night.
What? Why?
Why is day light?
Yeah. Okay.
Light is better than darkness.
All right. I mean, nighttime's kind of cool sometimes, right? Like,
Jesus tells you to
I
do
knew
your
that was the
work,
direction he was going.
Okay.
How did you not know that's what he was getting at?
All right.
Now,
Like, some people like nighttime.
Yeah, I think it's in John, the book of John. He talks about the light in the day and at night,
Come on, Corey.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that Jared brought up going into the game yesterday, that just on the hitting front, and I don't have a statistical breakdown of how many times did they chase a pitch or something like that to make it 0-1, but Rangers hitters last year faced 0-1 counts 60.1% of the time, the second lowest in all of baseball. This year, 63.1, which is the 23rd lowest, or another way of putting it, significantly higher, perhaps. I think it's in the top 4th then. And when you look at numbers, and Mike, I know you know this, and it seems like common sense, but just the numbers, if you get 0-1 to start versus 1-0 for the Rangers or across Major League Baseball, are staggering. A 214 batting average versus a 256 batting average, a 603 OPS versus a 798 OPS. So that first pitch, that makes a huge difference in at-bats, does it not?
Yes, and I don't know this, but I think this. As the season has progressed, more and more pitching coaches that are putting together game plans, more and more pitchers based off of the numbers, based off of their positive results, are like, challenge these guys.
Yeah.
Last year, it was like, you better be careful. Now, you're always having to be careful to Corey Seager first pitch. He is ready to swing the bat and get off a great swing. But I think for the most part now, teams are not afraid to challenge the Rangers in the zone, where last year you felt a little bit more afraid. I wouldn't say a little, a lot more afraid to challenge the Rangers in the zone.
Now, that's the positive news for the Rangers. They'll get another opportunity. They will get an opportunity to win the season series tonight, and as Corey said, hopefully get the sweep tomorrow. I wanted to talk about something else here, though. What has happened to the farm system? So Kylie McDaniel put out a report today, and I think his stuff is really fascinating. The way he does farm system reports is a little bit different. He works with Craig Edwards from Fangraphs, and they put together an idea of how much money these prospects will be paid in their 6+ controlled years for projected performance. Now, obviously, you're going to buy out arbitration, or you might buy out arbitration or just go through arbitration, but you get the idea. Like, how much money is this farm system really worth? Number one, Baltimore, $361 million.
That's a lot.
That is a lot, especially when we get to the Rangers in a second. But that's the best of both worlds. You're competing now. You're one
Miley
of the
Cyrus.
best team. What's that?
Miley Cyrus.
Yes. You're one of the best teams in all of baseball right now, and you have the best farm system. So before the season started, the Rangers...
can I stop you
Sure.
real quick? they're a relatively young team right now, too, right?
True.
Like Baltimore, their roster,
Their stud players are
their
young.
big league roster,
Yeah.
their big league core is relatively young. So
They've called up a couple of premium guys, their number 1 and number 3 prospects. So if you had to redo it today and take those two guys off, they would lose a lot of that money. But when they did this around the All-Star break probably and started trying to put this together, Jackson Holiday.
It was actually after the trade deadline.
Okay.
So this is within the last week. But they do still count Jackson Holiday
and their number
as part
3
of the farm
prospect.
system.
I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his
So,
name.
like my feel on that is they had invested a lot.
Yes.
In that, and that's why they're still good and young because they said we're going that direction with it. We're building from young.
Now, before the season started, the Rangers were 12th in farm system rankings. And you're like, okay, you're slightly above average. That's good job. But what happened since then? Wyatt Langford and Evan Carter officially graduated from that list. Now, I know you might be like, hold on, I saw Evan Carter play last year. Well, because of the wacky MLB rookie rules, they were still in the mix. They have now both graduated. This team has fallen from 12th to 29th. And I told you Baltimore was number 1, $361 million. The Texas Rangers at next to last are at $100 million.
Okay. That answers the question I asked yesterday.
Remind me of that question again?
Yeah.
We were talking about spending $100 million annually on pitching.
Yes.
And if you're going to be a team that's trying to be competitive
That's just for starting pitching.
Yeah,
Yes.
just for starting pitching. Well, what if you just said, you know what, we're not spending it on that. We're going to spend it on fixing our farm system.
Right.
And that's $100 million. You're not even close to Baltimore, for one.
No.
And so your value is only at $100 million. Add another $100 million to it and see if you can develop something. But you also have to pay that, and this isn't just but you have to pay that into the pitching part of it, finding good people. Go find all the Dodgers people and go find all the Braves and Tampa people and just bring them in.
It's interesting that you say that because here's one of the notes about the most recent draft for the Texas Rangers. I like this is from Kylie McDaniel. I like the general idea of their draft, taking advanced hit power combos without worrying too much about defensive ability. That will land them some big leaguers, but I wonder about the upside. And I start to wonder about that, too. When we talk about, now I know we talk more about development issues when it comes to pitching for the Rangers as opposed to hitting. But I do kind of wonder sometimes if they're like, hey, maybe we should change some of our evaluations and look for somebody that's like a little further down the path because we're not doing a great job at evaluating.
So you're saying take college guys
exactly
over high school guys, which the Rangers have somewhat decided to do.
Yeah. Correct. And I wonder
they've struggled with the high school kid. Now, Evan Carter, no. But
yeah, sure.
I mean, Brock Porter,
that's looking rough. And I realize he's still early in his career, but that's looking really rough.
He's 21 years old.
How's Wyatt Langford looking?
He's good.
He's 0-4 with a 6.98 ERA and 19 1/3 innings pitched, and they have him. This is in rookie ball. He's pitching in rookie ball right now. He's really not even pitching. They're just trying to redevelop him. But in his 11 innings, he gave up 11 runs and 11 walks and 5 hit batters.
Yeah.
That's in rookie ball. That was the high school kid. They did the double draft, Kumar Rocker, Brock Porter.
Yeah.
They worked out a deal with Scott Boras to get both guys in their organization, getting 2 first-round picks rather than taking maybe the best player at 3, even though they're really happy with Kumar Rocker coming back from Tommy John surgery right now.
And a couple of people have asked about Leiter from the 817. No one believes in Leiter anymore then, huh? Isn't that what this means? Look, there's still time, and he'll still get more opportunities, but let's face it, they have had a hole in their pitching that they wanted Jack Leiter to take multiple times this season, where they were like, come take this.
Yeah.
Be a starting pitcher for us, and he couldn't do it. I think he'll get another shot, but he couldn't do it. And so when somebody asks, where are Rocker and Leiter at? Well, you just talked about Rocker on the comeback path, but Leiter, you're still waiting. And Sebastian Walcott is your listed top prospect. He's not going to be here if he does make it here for multiple years.
Yeah, it's got a lot
I
of
would
work.
assume.
They got a lot of work and development to still go through before they get to a place where they're ready for that. So how do you add to that? How do you add to the value or the depth of your farm system other than draft and maybe trading players to get prospects
and see
that may never work out.
And that's why I think I envision Bobby sitting at home listening to this segment being like, and that's why I wanted you to trade all your players.
That's why you should have traded Martin Perez.
But the other thing is, and I feel like I've been consistent about this, and I'm not trying to sound like a jerk, but when you see this, don't you look at the core of the problem and you're like, who is heading up how we pick these players? And that's been the same person for a really, really long
over
time.
30 years.
Yes. And he's made it through multiple, I want to say administrations for the Rangers. That's probably not the right version.
I like it.
But he's been here. Kip Fagg has been here for a really long time. And the struggle has happened.
Yeah.
And it continues. I don't understand. I know they revamped their scouting system and stuff. But at what point do you like, hey, what about the person who's in charge of all of this?
Dude, and imagine how much of a master stroke that would be if you know that your farm system can convert prospects, can turn them into players, you know you can develop. How many times do they got to be sitting in a meeting going, all right, let's trade this guy for these prospects? Like, we don't have a proven commodity in there. Why would we even do that? The current player is more valuable to us than a prospect because we can't convert a prospect into a pro player. But it's a master stroke if you know that system can build it. And that's where Ray Davis honestly should be investing his money. If he wants to take a step back from this right now, he needs to turn his money and his attention to the farm system and say, okay, we got the World Series. We're going to go now and we're going to develop Texas Rangers players, but we got to do a new system there. We have to reinvest there.
It has always boggled my mind how cheap you could just completely overthrow the scouting system for. Like, considering how much money you pay for everything.
Yes.
To your point. Like, I'm going to go get all of the best scouts. Now, I'm sure some of them are loyal, and I'm like, I'm not going to leave for whatever price. And I'm like, well, we'll see about that. And the amount of money that you would spend on that, to your point, Corey, is insignificant.
Yes.
When consider how much money even like just Jacob deGrom got. You could revolutionize the pay scale of Major League Scouting and developing for way less than you paid only Jacob deGrom.
And I do wonder when it comes to an owner, if he's sitting there going, that's what I want to do. Or if he's telling his Chris Young, no, you still have to win under the budget that I give you, and there's nothing else that's going to happen. You just got to figure that out.
Could be. I don't know.